What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing so good. Man, I miss not being able to meet together on Wednesday nights and on Sundays, but hope you're doing so good. Tonight, we are going to show our third part to a series that we started called Walk a Mile, where we are real people having real conversations and where we are really out of breath. Hashtag quarantine 15. Am I right? Anyway, hey, we're so glad that you joined us tonight. We hope that you will just engage with us. You'll listen to the conversations and just be challenged to live a life. Your faith is more than just words, but it's actions, right? And we're going to be challenged with that tonight. Hey, before we go into our episode tonight, just want to remind you of two quick announcements. First, Beach Camp. Beach Camp's July the 13th through the 17th. Your deposits are due by June the 7th. But go ahead and register. We really do have limited number of spots, and so if you aren't one of the first ones to sign up, you may not be able to go, and I don't want that. So hurry up, go ahead and sign up. You can go, there's a link right here. Go to nbcjackson.org/youth. Scroll down to where you see Beach Camp. There is a Google form where you can go and fill that out. That just lets us know that you're interested in going. You don't have to pay or anything to do that, but let us know that you're going, and then turn your deposits in as soon as you can to guarantee that you've got a spot. Number two, we've got Kid Extreme signups happening right now. If you were a part of Kid Extreme last year, you know how amazing it was, and we promise you it's going to be even better this year. We've got some cool surprises and things that we're going to pull out. And if you weren't a part of Kid Extreme last year, this is our Vacation Bible School where we host a free sports and arts camp, and we want you to be a part of it. You can go on to nbcjackson.org and then look at Kid Extreme, and you can fill out the information for volunteers and choose where you want to serve, something that you are interested in doing, like arts and crafts or photography or fishing or a sport. You decide, you get to have fun, and you get to help teach kids about the good news of Jesus, but also having fun doing it. So, we're so excited. Part 3 for our series, Walk a Mile. Let's roll it. Hey everybody, welcome to our part 3 of our series called Walk a Mile, where we're having real people, real conversations, and where we will probably get really out of breath. But anyway, we've got a special guest today. I'm very excited about this interview, this I guess you call it episode in this series. So tell us who you are, tell us a little bit about your family, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, my name is Tracy Hartness. I live here in Jackson now. I have 3 girls that are 19, 16, and 15. I am married to Chad Stoniger, who actually lives in New Braunfels, Texas.
Okay.
And he has 2 boys who are 15 and 12.
That's awesome.
We currently live with my friend Drew Fox because, as we'll talk a little bit later, we sold our house to go into the mission field. Cool. So Drew Fox has, in her generosity and hospitality, opened her house up to us. Awesome. So we live over there with her.
That's so cool. Friends are good.
Oh, yes.
Friends are so good to have. Okay, awesome. So tell us, and we're going to kind of dive into this. Tell us a little bit about your call into ministry, what that means, just kind of real generally.
Okay. When I was about 31, I was just at a really bad time in my life, really bad. And I could not get any lower, and at that point, I didn't even say to God, if you'll help me get out of this, I'll serve you. I just said, this is all I got. I'm going to serve you no matter what after that. He did fix me. He did heal me from that. But after that, whatever I felt led to do, that's what I did. So I immersed myself and my girls in church, served in Sunday school, Upward, basketball, soccer, whatever I could get into. So the calling in that way, in that general sense, was just if there was a need in the church or if there was something I felt led to do, I just tried to jump into it
cool.
and get in there.
That's so cool. So me and Candler, I know my first Sunday ever at Macedonia, it was the Sunday where you were like commissioned out.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, how cool is this? I didn't know who you were. I never even heard you, but they said Tracy Hartness and her girls are going to come up here and we're going to pray for them. And anyway, I thought, how cool. And I thought, man, I've got to get to know Tracy and her family. And what a blessing it is to know you guys and to be able to serve with you and see how y'all are serving. So anyway, that was just the beginning of this great adventure and this great season of life, and continuing on. I mean, this chapter hasn't ended. So tell us about that call to full-time mission work, to your answering the call to God for missions.
Okay. It actually started way before.
Okay.
Leanne and I went on our first Jamaica mission trip back in 2013.
Yeah.
We fell in love with it, but we knew we were only going to be going, once a year. I went again that year for another week. The next year, Jenny went with us.
Okay.
The next year, Ellie went with us, and we went 2 more years with them. So in that process, I was a single mom, working 50 hours a week. School wasn't going quite so well for my girls, so I was led to homeschool my girls. Then within a year, God called me to seminary. And I said, I already don't have time to do anything. I don't know how I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So seminary. And then within 2 years of that, the calling into the specific ministry of Jamaica, there was already the love there and the passion, the not being able to wait until it was time to go back again. But the draw really started off more like a burden. It was by Christmas, the year before we said yes, it was almost a burden where I was almost sad because I couldn't figure out what was going on. I couldn't figure out what it was. By April, God had shown me enough things where I said, all right. And I had talked to other people. It's way more complicated than what I'm putting out there. But I had talked to some people and then, started letting people know what he had called us to. So then we started raising the money and heading down. So sold our house, gave our car. We actually gave our car to somebody because they didn't have a car, and so
Wow. I mean, that's such you just gave a 15-second answer to a month long, a year long. I mean, such a process, and so many times people wonder, and there's many books written about it, hey, how do I know that God's calling me into ministry, right? And first off, the answer is if you're a believer, if Jesus is your Lord and your Savior, you are called to ministry of some sort.
That's exactly right.
But you may not necessarily be called to a full-time vocational ministry such as a pastor or a youth pastor, a music guy, a person or pastor or a missionary of that sort. And we'll, hey, hold on one second. Okay, we're all called to ministry, to do ministry, to obey the Great Commission, but you were called to do full-time mission work, and it wasn't as if you just, and what you just explained wasn't as if you just like had this boom, this aha moment, but it was this extended period of time.
Yes.
But that came through constantly seeking after the Lord.
Correct.
It came through constantly obeying the Lord and hearing what He had to say.
Yes.
But it wasn't necessarily the easiest thing to do, I'd imagine.
No, but I will tell you that for anybody, and it doesn't matter, again, like you said, it doesn't matter what ministry you feel called to, when you have been seeking Him, when you've been soaking yourself in the Holy Spirit, and I don't mean I get to do that all the time, but when that's what you're trying to do and He tells you to do something, then there's just this peace that comes with it where you're not anxious about it, you're not worried, was not worried about selling the house, was not worried about the girls. So there'll be a peace that comes with that.
That's so good. That's so good. So tell us a little bit about your time in Jamaica. Tell us a little bit about what you got to do, some of the things you saw God teaching you, and go from there.
Being down there, it really worked out well too, because some of my seminary classes at the same time were about international missions and intercultural kind of training. So that was God's timing too. while we were down there this past time especially, I was able to build relationships with people that don't have a contact in the church, that don't spend their time, around church people, so to speak. We were able to hand out Bibles. We were able to pray with them and just become friends with them. And this is something, if you don't mind, that it can happen here as well as there. So when I say this, I don't mean it against their churches or even against ours, but it is something I think we need to watch out for. The churches down there, and when I say churches, I'm speaking generally, not every church is the same.
Right.
The people that we were friends with down there were not looked upon well by the people in the church. So even when people saw me, from some of the churches, saw me in the crossroads talking and praying with the people, they knew I was there and they wouldn't even acknowledge I was there. But if I was somewhere else, so I think as a church, we really have to watch about how our judgment comes out dealing with the people, or, with whoever we're talking to. But we got to, when I say become friends, that sounds so easy, because here, you're friendly with somebody but there is a little level of distrust, and I think amongst people who don't have anything to do with the church, and they don't really know what to expect. They don't know what you're looking for when you go there. So one of the things that I learned is that just because I know Jesus, and just because my entire want is to serve him and for people to know him the way I do, I want their heart to be given to him just like mine is. I don't want them to know him up here. I want them to know him here. I learned that I do not know the best way all the time. Our desire or our passion is we go in and we're ready to just storm it. I love you and I want you to know Jesus. And that's not always the way to go into it. So I learned actually some stuff from the people about how to better deal with people or how to interact with them. So
that's so cool. And we see that even when we read scripture, a lot of the times I think we mistake or misunderstand how Jesus' relationship with the disciples or the people he came in contact with, where we just see him walking up to, for instance, like Zacchaeus. Hey, Zacchaeus, come down from that tree. But it was more than just like this instant. It was a relationship. And each person, we get this, each person is different. We build relationships with each person individually and specifically. And I think that's good, just having an open mind and an open heart to, one, be spirit-led, to be praying about it, praying for them, but then also be adaptable and flexible to meet needs of those specific people.
And just right along that line, every person you come in contact with is at a different spot. So there may be a person, the first person you come up to, you may have to just work on the relationship for a while. The next person you come into contact with maybe at some point, ready to hear the gospel way sooner. And some people maybe have the head knowledge of the gospel and just be getting ready to give their heart over. So you just have to be really sensitive, I think, to what people are looking for.
That's so good. Okay, so tell us one or however many stories of just a way that you saw God work in just a miraculous and just a mighty way as you have just in this chapter of being called to mission work.
The one that came to mind when I thought about this was the first lady that asked me for a Bible at the Crossroads, because the reason this took courage, because like I said, the relationship with the church is really not there. And this happens here too. So again, I just want to say this isn't just there. I don't mean for that to make it to sound bad or whatever, but a lot of them can't read. And so her expectation of my answer could have been, why would I even waste my time or my money buying you a Bible? You can't read. Or you don't go to church. You don't go to church. I'm not getting you a Bible. If you want a Bible, you come to church and then I'll talk to you about it. So when I said, I'll go get you one. Oh, she was so excited. But she really, that was stepping out in courage and in faith for her to say that, because shaming it's an honor shame culture more
Sure.
so than here the way that we are, and it could have been shaming for her because like that I could have said no.
Yeah.
But after the others saw that I said yes to her, more felt that courage to be able to come and ask. We ended up giving out 15 Bibles in about a month. Nice little gift Bible. So it was pretty cool. That
That's
was
so awesome.
the coolest story, I think.
You know, and I think even just because a lot of the times we hear about people who give out Bibles, and I know this Western American culture is like, man, if I want a Bible, I'll just go Bible,
Yes.
right? And I think about me, I'm like, hey, whichever room I'm in, there's probably a Bible in it, right? But here, or the story that you're talking about, I mean, it's like, hey, if I want a Bible, I'm going to have to go and probably ask somebody for a Bible.
Well, that, and I barely have enough money for food.
Yeah.
A Bible would be a luxury.
Wow. Hey, so we turned around, running out of the good lighting. And the gnats are so bad. Where are all these? Are we in South Georgia? This is terrible. Anyway, hey, so we got one more question for you. This has been a super good conversation, encouraging and good for me to hear. So our Link Student Ministry, we're defined as Christ, community, and calling. Those are kind of our three key words. So you have answered this calling to do missions. And even though you're in the States right now, that calling hasn't ended. So how can you challenge, how can you encourage our students to continue to obey the calling of which God's given them, which we take out of Matthew 28, the Great Commission?
I have a couple things that I would say to look for.
Yeah.
The first thing would be to remember that no matter where you are, you are serving Christ at that time.
That's good.
So when you go to the dollar store, people may not know that you go to Macedonia Baptist Church, and at that point they might not know that you're a Christian even, but your behavior is seen by everybody that's in that store.
Good.
If they see you, they see how you behave. Are you being respectful? Are you being kind? Now you might not think, well, I'm not planting any seeds, but you are. You are, and you just don't know what kind of a seed you're planting. You also don't know what kind of day that person's having.
That's true.
A smile, a hello, a how are you doing? How are you doing? That can change somebody's day.
So
it doesn't matter if it's a dollar store, the gas station, or wherever. You have to remember that you're serving Him in every step that you take every day in front of somebody. So we have to remember that. The other thing I would say is to look for places for a need that needs to be filled. It can be at the church. It can be, well, sorry. It's okay. I'm not worried about the dog. I just heard it. I'm sorry. I know you'll have to edit all that out. Oh, it's him. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, he's this is such a cute dog too. I see him back here all the time. I'm sorry.
Cool. Hey.
How are you? Hey, how are you? My mom's dog looks exactly like that. I mean, literally black and white and the whole thing. Sorry about that.
No, you're
I got distracted by the dog.
You're good.
Okay, so the second thing that I would say that we need to look for is a need that needs to be filled.
Sure.
That can be at the church. Is there a Sunday school class that needs an assistant? Is there a spot, we used to do Upward. Is there a spot in Upward that needs a place filled? Is there something? Can you help serve supper? Can you help clean up afterwards? These are active. Now that's in the church.
Sure.
But the church walls do not set up a barrier to where that service, that practical service needs to stop. To go and talk to pastors and say, look, here's what I like, here's what I'm good at. What can I do outside the walls? What kind of ministries are there? Are there homeless ministries? Are there soup kitchens? Are there clothing, volunteer positions at stores, or what, like thrift stores is what I mean. Something where you can go and help people. So I would say those are the two main things. And I'm going to add 3.
Okay, do it.
I would say, do not stop learning. Do not. Read stuff. Now, I would say you need to get somebody's recommendation on certain things, but go to people who like to read. Find out what they're reading. Don't stop learning. Because I've heard 2 people in particular that are in full-time ministry, and are really, really busy and working with people.
Yeah.
And I said, oh my gosh, I read this in this book, and I needed to know this. This is so important. Well, I don't read books. And I went, oh no, you need to read. So just don't stop learning, even if it's from another person or from books. You need to keep learning, because there's a ton of stuff to be learned, even as it regards ministry.
That's so good.
Yeah.
You know, I want to even add something to what you said, and obviously the coronavirus has kind of shut things down right now, and that's okay. We need to make sure that we are being cautious and precautious about everything. But I think you said one thing on how to obey the calling, and that is literally just to go and do.
Yeah.
I mean, I would even bet your calling to do mission work would never have come had you not ever have gone. That's in the first place. And so obviously right now we can't go, and even our Denver trip that we were gonna take has been canceled, and even other student kind of mission trips that we have planned have kind of been postponed right now. But when the time comes, and it will come, it's so important to go.
Oh, it is. It is.
And so I challenge you students and anybody who's watching, when the opportunity comes, you do whatever you have to do to go.
Yes, I would say right there, do not ever let the cost of something be a hindrance to going, because God will supply your need. It's a need, God will supply it. The other thing is, going will change your heart. It might not be what you're called to do full time, but it will change your heart, and it'll set you up for a whole new path.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, Tracy, thank you so much. Hey, thank you for being a part of our third part of our series called Walk a Mile, where we're real people having real conversations. We're walking uphill, so I'm really out of breath right now. Anyway, we will see you later. We appreciate you, and that's it.